So we've got another Meet the Owner today, and today we're meeting Steve and Jan, who own this beautiful Princess 40. Hello, Steve and Jan.
Hi, Nick. Hi.
Nice to meet you. Welcome. Thank you very much. So this is a really nice looking boat, and of course these Princess 40s is sort of the previous generation, really, isn't it? What age is this one?
Absolutely, yes. She's 2002, so an older girl, but even as the Princess engineers say, they built them strong back in the day.
Yeah.
So we were delighted to get hold of her during a time when it's been very difficult to get hold of boats. And as you know, Nick, we had to go quite a long way for this boat.
Yeah.
We picked her up in Hartlepool Marina and had her brought down to here in Swanwick by truck. And then the fun started. By fun, I mean the cheque started to be written.
Excellent. Well, let's go on board if we may, and then we can have a little look at what you've done, because I know you have done a few bits and pieces to her.
Absolutely.
This is really your sort of classic Princess, isn't it? The sort of 40-foot Flybridge is what they did for so long and so well.
Exactly that. They knew what they were doing, and I think you get the same build quality with a 40-foot as you probably do with a 60-foot, boat. So that was one of the things that really pointed us in the Princess direction.
It's interesting you say that, actually, because when I used to sell these, and I would do boat shows inevitably, and I get people who bought like a Princess 40 like this, or the 38, or the old Princess V40s and stuff. And I always used to say to customers, come and have a look on this Princess 65, and they'd say, well, I'm not, that's completely out of my league, I'm not interested. And I'd say, well, have a look anyway, you'll find it interesting. And always people would go on those boats, and they'd be, maybe 10 times the price.
Sure.
And people would go, it's exactly like mine, just bigger. And it is. It's the same woodwork and the same leather and the same light switches and the same headlining and the same everything. And that's what I think was so nice about these, is they were so consistent. And I think they still are, to be fair.
Yes.
But they were so consistent right across the range. What you were paying for with the bigger boats was the bigger boat, not a better quality boat. And I think that's really important.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing worth mentioning, and I'm not being paid to say this, but the attention we get from Princess is exactly the same as we would get if we had a £5 or £6 million yacht. I mean, they've been very good to us, and they've really helped us on our journey. This, as you know, is our first powerboat. We've just moved from sail. So it's been an interesting journey. So we needed our handheld a little bit to make sure we were making the right decisions, and so far so good. Brilliant.
Well, let's go and have a look inside if we may. I'll follow you in.
Okay.
I mean, this really is the classic layout, isn't it? You've got the cockpit here, you've got the canopy that comes around the back, which obviously I can see you've got rolled up at the moment.
Yes.
And then the sliding doors, and in we go.
Yes, absolutely. So the first thing we were really pleased about was a light cherry finish.
Yes.
I think the darker cherry doesn't perhaps age quite as well, although it's a classic look. So we're really pleased about that.
It's interesting. They used to actually call them natural cherry and classic cherry.
Right, okay.
And I always felt that the classic cherry looked great on the big sort of like the super yacht style, because you had the space for it. And then you put the cream leather with it and it looked great. But I think that in the smaller boats like this, I agree, the lighter wood is the way to go.
So the first thing we did, I think that it was new carpets throughout.
Yep.
So the previous owner had a dog.
Right.
In fairness to him, he'd done as good a job as he could to try and bring the carpets back, but you never can, so so that all needed taking out. And again, the good thing about working with Princess is the carpet guy that came said, I think I might have actually I recognise some of this boat.
Really?
I might have fitted this. So he'd been working for Princess for years, and he was their carpet fitter. He said, I think I actually did this boat initially when it came out the factory.
Wow, brilliant.
So he went into every little nook and cranny. So this is Princess carpet. This is their modern, this is what you would see on one of their new boats.
Yeah, it's like a Berber carpet, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's completely hard wearing. They put a nice runner for us.
Yeah.
We've always had the curtains done.
Yeah, so we changed those.
So the curtains, again, they were a darker colour. So again, we've gone for a lighter colour.
Yeah, that works well.
And yeah, that works well. We used Universal Interiors for that. Chris, he's great. On time, on price. No issues with that. The other thing you may not notice, which I'm glad you haven't even pointed out, is the fact that we've got some black accents in this boat.
Right.
So one of the things that was happening was, as with a lot of older boats, some of the laminate was starting to look its age and not be as good. So we looked at trying to match it, and that proved difficult and more of a challenge. But the Princess guys came up with a great solution, which was to cover some of these surfaces with this black leather.
Okay.
So on this area here, and on the entrance as you come in either side, you can see these black accents. And I think, although you don't notice it, it does lift it, because there are a few other little accents around the boat. The leather was really good, so that just wanted a really good clean and clean and condition.
It looks like new, actually, I have to say.
Thank you. Jan did that.
Well done, Jan. Good move.
It's a lot of elbow grease, as you know, but it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I think actually it points to the quality of the boat in the fact that if you've got decent quality leather,
Yes.
like any other material, you can bring it back. Whereas if it's cheap stuff, you know, 10 years
Vinyl,
and it's
it
gone.
comes away, and then you just have to replace it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, carrying on.
I'm going to stay here now.
Okay, no problem.
Right, just out of the way, yeah. So here, that would have been a sort of a holly antique floor. But
Yeah.
again, we wanted to give it a slightly more, a slightly different feel, a bit more of an apartment type of thing. So we went for engineered.
You've got a piece of lino or something.
Well, it had some liner. When we pulled it up, it had the holly antique underneath, but it was gone. Hence the vinyl.
Yeah.
So we asked Princess to come up with a solution, and again they've come up with this engineered oak floor.
Nice.
Again, it's probably what you'd find in a home, but it just lifts it, and I think it's a nice contrast with the colour. Gas on board.
Yeah.
Everything worked. I think
The oven.
we've put a new microwave on. It's one of these combined things.
Ideal.
But that works really well.
Yeah.
The gas is good, actually. We don't have a generator.
Right.
So if you want to cook and do a cuppa or whatever, as we did recently, you can do everything on good old-fashioned gas.
Yeah.
And being a sailor, I'm used to it, so
Of course.
I understand how that works. What else? We've got an extra fridge in here, actually. So that's the other thing we were worried about.
Oh, okay.
So the fridge space, just a normal fridge. That's a new fridge.
Yeah.
But it's not as big as you'd like. Embarrassed to say, mainly for bottles and things.
Yeah.
So that we put another fridge in under there, and that works really well as well.
Yeah, but think about it. We had a French boat before, and it had lots of wine storage.
Of course, yes, I understand.
Every floorboard you lift up on a French boat has wine storage underneath.
Yeah.
It's the law, apparently.
Brilliant.
So we're fine with that. So the original carpet came all the way through, but we asked for an access here. So there's a massive storage area here, which we didn't know when we bought the boat, because there was a carpet stuck down.
Right.
So the Princess guys came and said, "What about this locker under here?" And we thought, "Well, what locker?" So we had them cut the carpet out, put a pull, and there's a huge lined storage area. It's not just in the bilges, so that's really helpful.
Yeah.
For larger items and bags. Then coming forward, then.
Yeah.
Again, carpet throughout. All the sockets were changed to updated with USBs. We put LEDs everywhere as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not sure you can see that, but yeah, just to really give it a slightly more modern feel. One of the other good things about this boat was it had been predominantly on the Broads.
Oh, okay.
So it hasn't had a lot of saltwater use.
Yeah.
So that was really good for the engine wise, but also all the head linings were good, because I think one of the problems with older boats is the head linings do let go.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, then we are talking about quite a lot of money. So we were delighted at the fact that the head linings in this boat were all intact. So through here you've got an old style loo under here.
Yeah.
But we had Princess convert that to fresh water.
That's a good idea.
Again, it just takes that boaty smell out.
Yes.
Again, we're quite familiar with that. They're also obviously all power heads.
Yeah.
I mean, all this is a certain area, a certain age. This dark blue. It's just but it polishes up nice. It's not marked, so we were delighted with that. And we put heated towel rails as well. Again, useful. If you're trying to dry something on a day that isn't like today, it's just useful having the heated towel rail here.
Yeah. Or if someone's used the shower as well, then it's a nice thing to be
exactly.
dry out, isn't it?
So this one has a shower as well, but it's with a curtain just to keep the water from flowing off into the cabins. It works extremely well, actually. But I've tried them all.
Right, excellent.
So we've got a Jack and Jill door here.
Yeah.
I think with this being open, it's probably easier for me to come back out.
Yes, of course.
That way.
Yeah. This really is the classic layout. I mean, this actual layout with the two cabins and the two heads, you can trace this right back to the Princess 38 that replaced the Princess 37, I think, in the very early 80s. And they kept that layout going through 38, 388, 385, sorry, 38, 385, 388, and then they did a 398, then a 410.
Gosh.
And then the 410 became the 430, no, 420, and then a 430, and then they brought the 40 in below it. But this layout that's on this boat has been in probably, I bet it's been in 10 different models. throughout the years.
Yes.
You know, it's really well proven.
If it's not broke, exactly that. Why fix it? And it works very well for us. It's mainly just the two of us, but when we have friends on, it's nice to have. You know, I think people like to have their own private facilities.
For sure.
So that works very well. So here we've got an island bed. I would say all the mattresses have been replaced, so that's one thing. So brand new memory foam topped mattresses throughout. It's that old adage about, you know, if you buy a house, you don't sleep on the other person's mattresses. You know, so why wouldn't you do it on a boat? So we kind of went down that route. Made a huge difference. Again, that was the guys at Universal did that. Not much else needed to be done in here really, other than just a really good clean. I think, as I said, as you said, it speaks to the quality of the fittings initially. That everything, you know, you could be quite aggressive with them and not worrying about it, you know, coming off in your hand. So we were able to clean quite aggressively everywhere, and hopefully you don't get that boaty sort of smell or feel about it. This heads is pretty much the same. Again, new curtains throughout. It's got a classic wrap-round cubicle in here.
Yep.
Again, fresh, as I said, fresh water. Didn't need much working here, just really a bit more TLC. We replaced all the pipe work as well in the heads. I think that obviously helps as well. Yeah. And again, a heated towel rail in there as well. I think that's kind of it in terms of the work we've done that's immediately visible, Nick. We've had a lot of work done on the GRP and on the fendering outside, but we can perhaps have a look at that a bit later if you want. But apart from that, the outside cushions were in good, the nice Silvertex, which is really hard wearing. I mean, we're delighted with it. You know, it's our first powerboat. We didn't want to make a mistake. We wanted to buy something that, if we liked, we could then trade up, and this will be a good part exchange or a good sell. And we wanted it to be a boat that we were really proud to show other people and give them an idea what you can do to these older girls, and get something that looks and smells, you know, perhaps a bit fresher than some of the other offerings on the market. So yeah, that's kind of the downstairs layout. Yeah,
no, that's great. I think it's interesting because we've looked at a few boats recently that SeaTag have worked on, and they work marvels. It has to be said, they do a fantastic job. But what you've done here is a sort of an in-between between just leaving everything original or doing a complete refurbishment they do. And what you've done is like a really light touch.
Yes.
Just little bits and pieces, and it's made the boat. I mean, this is 20 years old, isn't it?
Yes.
And it feels like a 2-year-old boat.
Exactly that. And thank you for saying that. I mean, but that's the comments we get from people.
Yeah.
I mean, little things obviously age it a little bit, but do you know what? In terms of the way it looks, certainly the way it performs as well. I mean, one of the things that Princess did was their full service on the engine. We just wanted it for peace of mind, so they did a full service and the valves as well. Looked at all the stern gear, absolutely everything, and so there's a cost associated with that, but then you've got peace of mind. You know, we use our boats a lot. You know, we're going across the channel next month, and we don't want to be mid-channel. Have to think about, you know, using our Sea Start membership. So,
I'm not sure it reaches that far anyway.
No, we could drift maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
The tide until we get in the area.
No, you're absolutely right there, and I think that is the thing with it. And I think, you know, this is the compromise. My view is, and my boat is not much newer than this. Mine's 3 years newer than this, so an old boat. But it's a balancing act and a compromise between the fact that at this age, really, there is no depreciation.
No.
So you buy a brand new boat, you don't have the maintenance particularly, and it's all under warranty and all those sorts of things, but you do have depreciation. At this age, you don't have depreciation, you have to spend a bit more on maintenance, you know, and that's the trade-off.
Exactly that. It's a trade-off, and we've got a 40-foot Flybridge for, you know, still a reasonable amount of money, but nowhere near the figures that we're talking about for something that would be, you know, maybe 2 or 3 years old, and we can do exactly the same thing. Yeah,
exactly. It's on the same water, and you're sleeping in the same sorts of beds, and you're visiting the same marinas.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Yeah, true. Cool. Let's have a look around the outside then, if we may.
Sure.
So this upholstery, I would say, I know you said you haven't changed it, but that's not original.
No.
Because they would have been white originally, I think.
Yes, absolutely. So it's upgraded. It's a Silvertex material, so it's great. You know, you can scrub it with bleach, and it doesn't destroy. So So yeah, that's great. And it's the same on the Flybridge. Under here, as you know, you've got because we haven't got a generator, but we have got a massive lazarette in here.
Yeah.
Under here.
Let's have a quick look actually, because that is huge, isn't it?
It is.
It goes right back under the bathing platform and everything.
We'll say it's full of junk at the moment.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's like the garage at home, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in here.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact you've got that massive fender in there speaks volumes, doesn't it?
But ahead of that, we've got an outboard, a dinghy.
Wow.
We've got 2 directors' chairs, a table. Yeah, quite a lot in there.
Yeah, and that's typical Princess as well. The battery is all boxed in properly and ventilated and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, when I've done a few little jobs on this boat, I put, for instance, these cockpit lights in or whatever. It was so easy finding supplies because everything's labelled beautifully.
Yes.
And you're not worried, oh, have I cut into an instrument supply or whatever here?
Yeah.
It's just really, really done well. So to maintain these boats, you know, yourself, which I try and do a little bit, has been a dream. I have to say, I've really enjoyed doing it. It's just been you can just see the quality. I think things like that.
Perfect. Let's have a quick look at the engines as well, if we may, while we're here.
Of course. So, as you would expect, a pair of TND 63s.
They are.
They are.
63s,
Yeah, they are.
They'll be either L's or P's.
The P's. So
excellent. So 370 horsepower each.
Yes, absolutely, and they've got some kick.
Yeah.
I have to say, even just in and out in tick over, they really do. They really do shove you along. One of the things we've done to this boat, this would have been Morse controls originally. So they've got a sort of semi-automatic. So we've got electronic actuators at the helms.
Yep.
And we've got a servo-assisted box here.
Ah, yes.
So there's a little. So that works really well. So you haven't got the cables. You're not worried about keeping them. Although they're generally trouble-free, these are a very good compromise.
Yeah. The thing with cables is it's a long run, so it can be quite stiff, and
particularly from the fly.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Yeah,
Exactly that. So these work really well, and they're very positive and allow you to do everything in minute fractions.
Yeah.
We've got a stern thruster on this boat as well. That's new.
Excellent.
And again, just gives you that peace of mind that you can go sideways if you need to into a berth, or if it's a little bit tricky. Haven't had to use it yet. I don't think, not very much. But yeah, we're really enjoying getting our heads around power, and so far so good.
Yeah.
So far so good.
I think the thing with thrusters is, well, I try and keep I've only got a bow thruster on mine, but I try and keep it as what I call a get out of jail free card.
Exactly.
So you try not to use it, but when you need it,
it's there.
It's absolutely invaluable, and just gives you a bit more confidence as well. When you're going in, that actually, if you haven't got it quite right, you can tweak it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
And we're new. Every day's a school day, and so we've got some big trips planned down to the West Country, all part of the world, and hopefully getting to Nosson, places like that. I think that's where you keep smugglers now, isn't it?
Absolutely right. Yeah.
At Premier there, and then my father lives in Jersey, the Channel Islands, so we're booked into the Channel Islands third week in July.
No, August.
Oh, August, beg your pardon, yes. So, thank you, Jen. So, that'd be embarrassing, wouldn't it, turning up?
Well, yes.
About our birth, it's August, Mr. Morris. So, yes, again, having that extra control in an unfamiliar marina is something that we're happy about.
Brilliant. Let's have a look on top then, shall we?
Sure. So another thing we're really happy about was the teak on this boat. So the teak was in very good condition. It just means I enjoy doing the teak.
Right.
I'm a bit of a masochist, so I'm happy doing whatever you need to do a couple of times a year just to keep it fresh.
It's quite satisfying though, isn't it? Because teak is one of those jobs where you can actually see what you've done.
Exactly.
When you finish and you step back, you go, actually, that's nice.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Okay, so coming up to the Flybridge. Got the bimini up actually, but we're okay up here. So again, we've got this replaced Silvertex around here.
Mm-hmm.
Small but adequate table on here. These are the new electronic controls I was telling you about.
Yep.
Our bow and stern thrusters.
Mm-hmm.
So everything pretty much is standard. What I have done though is I've had to update the chart plotter. So I've kept the original chart plotter because that runs off the radar.
Right.
But here I've got another standalone chart plotter,
Oh, okay.
And I haven't got it set up today, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's just like one of these Garmin stand up, and it's a bit more modern because this still shows this boat yard as Moody's boat yard.
Right. Fair enough.
And
that was a few years ago.
That was a
wasn't it?
giveaway. Yes.
Yeah.
It hasn't
yeah.
been Moody's for a few years, and
Yeah.
I didn't really want to spend any money, but it works absolutely fine.
Yeah.
This is such a nice place to be. This is the reason why we wanted to buy, or one of the reasons why we wanted to buy a Flybridge. You know, for days like this, we can sit up here, watch the world go round, go past, maybe a glass of water or something to keep cool, or
Yeah.
something like that. We've got remote here as well, so we bought a new, not a Fusion system, but it's a Sony system, but we can run the remote from up here, and we've got speakers up here as well.
Nice.
So it's just oh, sorry.
It's all right. Party time over
Party
there.
time,
Yeah, starting early.
Yeah. So that's kind of pretty much what we've done on the boat. We've had some fendering done. I think I said to you she was kept on the Broads and went through a few locks and things like that. And I think
They get the scars, don't they?
they get exactly that. So we've had new fendering on the port side. Where it just goes through locks and
Yeah.
up against riverbanks. Because I thought, how has that happened? Why would that happen on a powerboat? Until I realised, that's what happens to them in fresh water.
Yeah, totally. Mine's got a small dent in the side, and it's actually in the GRP. There's nothing you can do with it.
Right.
And it is just a legacy of the fact my boat also came from the Broads. You
Yes.
just have to accept second-hand boat.
Yes.
But unfortunately, obviously with yours you can replace the rubbing band, but on mine it has actually dented the GRP slightly.
gosh.
It's just one of those things. It doesn't actually cause any issues or problems whatsoever, but you just know it's there.
You just you think, well, okay, if I get a spare, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I'll get someone to look at it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we've pretty much stopped with this boat now.
Mhm.
I think we've got it pretty much how we want it.
Yep.
I think you could always do more, Nick, but I think for us we want to get out and enjoy it.
That's the thing,
You
isn't
know,
it? That's what it's really for.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And days like this, and the weather's hopefully going to be set for a while now.
Yeah.
We'll be out, mainly around the Solent. We're mainly Solent sailors, but I think with a few long trips as well, we'll really get to know the boat, and we'll make a decision about power or going back to sail, which is something we can maybe talk about.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Another point, but
Yeah. Let's go and do that. Actually, let's
Okay.
go back downstairs.
Yeah, okay.
And then we can have a chat about your boating history.
And Jan's lack of.
It's almost like a confessional, this, isn't it?
Yeah. Well. Yes.
Okay, so take us back to the very beginning. Where does your boating start? Where does both of your boating start?
Well, Jan's started in 2017, I think.
Yeah, no, probably 2018.
2018, yes.
Yeah.
So Jan's is very, very, very simple. So we, when I met Jan, I had a Bavaria 30, and which I kept in Chichester, and I just suggested to Jan, well, maybe come and try it. And we went out for a weekend in Yarmouth.
It was very hot that year.
It was extremely hot. And her first experience of that was it being very hot, thinking, oh, this is what boating's about.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah. UK boating. Why don't you bother with that?
On the one hand, but on the other hand, I'd had something that didn't agree with me. And all night I was ill.
Oh.
Poor Jan, I thought, well, she can put up with me being in a small boat. We're fine.
Yeah.
Boating's for us. So
Well, I think they call it a baptism by fire, don't they?
Indeed. And then we sold that boat, and we bought a larger 41-foot Beneteau from Eastbourne, which we brought back in May through hail and thunder. And,
Yes, that was a very, very bad journey.
So
Right.
that was,
And that didn't put you off?
and that didn't put her off.
Well, nearly.
No, we
Nearly. And
even
then you cut your hand.
yes.
We had to get first aid. We had to stop for first aid for you.
Oh, no.
And the lock. That was going through the lock.
Right.
Yeah, and
Then it hailed.
and then it hailed, and then we couldn't get into Brighton, which is the midway point for us because of the tide, and they hadn't dredged it as much.
We'd had very bad weather on the way there.
It didn't put us off.
Right.
And we got back the next day to Chichester, and so that was our first boat that we thought, right, let's do a bit more with this. So we went to the Channel Islands, we did France,
Yeah.
and we loved it.
Oh, it was great.
We absolutely loved it. And we bought that boat in May, and then September came, and the boat show came, and Charles.
You needed boat shoes.
Yeah. I'm
going to guess these are the most expensive boat shoes in the world.
Yes, exactly. So I was being a bit cheeky, and I spoke to a very good friend, Charles, who was at Ancaster, but he's now at Argo, part of the Princess Group. And Charles was great. So we've been kind of moving with him. So he kind of helped us buy our Oceanus 41 when he was at Blackrock. And then he moved to Ancaster, and I called him and said, Charles, is there any chance of a boat show ticket, please? I want to get some boat shows. He said, yes, but come and look at a boat, while you're here. You may as well. Yeah. So
it was worth it for him.
Yeah.
Yes. So we looked at a 46.1 Oceanus, which is a lovely boat with the big drop-down transom. And we looked at it and we thought, oh gosh, we've only just bought our boat. Look at this. This is beautiful. But the price was out of the question, really, for brand new. And he said, I do just have a second-hand Oceanus 45, 2014? 2015, yeah. If you'd like to see outside of what's in Hamble. So as you say, that then became the most expensive pair of boat shoes in the world. So we went on board, one owner bought it on the spot, pretty much. But then we had a problem. We had two boats.
Right.
So they assured us, Ancaster assured us they would sell it within the month, and they were pretty much as good as their word. They sold their boat within. So we didn't have the double bubble for paying mooring fees, which nobody really wants.
A bit stressful.
It was a bit stressful, but yeah, she was a lovely boat, and they were great with it. They did the whole thing with the 3D tour and she sold straight away. And then what happened? Then we had we did the Channel Islands and did a few other things, but coming back from the Channel Islands last year, no wind. It was 14 hours at 5 knots. Ooh. And we just thought, I've done this a few times now. I'm getting a bit bored with this. And the wind always seemed to be coming from the wrong direction. There was not enough, there was too much, or the tide wasn't right. And I started thinking, look, we've got limited time. Let's, how are we going to enjoy our boats going forward? And Jan and I looked at...
it was a snap decision, really. It was driving home from here one Sunday. And I just said, why don't we give it a go? It'll be a new learning experience as well. It'll be something new to do. We've still got COVID. We can't really go many places. Let's do something different. It'll engage us more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So...
put the boat up for sale.
We did, and then it sold within
to the first person that saw it.
Wow.
We did that through Ancaster, and Katie was great, Katie P, and she's been holding our hand a lot with our sort of move into power, sort of showing us different options. We had an aborted purchase. I think we've been chatting, Nick, off and on, and you've been helpful, sort of steering us in a direction. And we almost bought a V48 as our quite a big boat for our first powerboat, but we wanted to be really cautious with it. So we did what everyone should do, and I urge everyone to, watching this, one bit of advice is to get a proper surveyor to come out, get a professional skipper to skipper the boat, and get an engine engineer out with it as well. So we did that. So we had 3 people on board the boat, and on the surface she was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful boat, a beautiful boat. It was only until we got her out into the Solent and tried to get her up to speed that all the engine alarms started coming on. There was water coming in through one of the stern glands. There were lots of problems with it. But that's why you pay a surveyor and an engineer. Yeah. And it was about 2,500, something like that.
Oh, it cost that much just to get everything to find this out.
But it stopped us making a £250,000 mistake.
Completely.
And we thought about getting the work done, and we got up to about £10,000 quotes. Yeah. And we thought, what, I haven't got a good feeling about this boat anymore. No, and boats, you do buy on like a house. You buy on emotion, don't you? Completely. And I'd lost faith in the boat, so we walked away from that. And then we kind of sat around wondering about what we were going to do, and then we decided to take your advice and go a little bit further. And we, as I said, we went up to Hartlepool, saw this boat in between Christmas and New Year, tracked her back down, and the rest is history. We couldn't be happier. So that's our joint story. My history goes back a little bit further than that.
Right.
So I went to an inner London school, and where we played football and rugby, but they were quite progressive, and so they gave us a couple of options, and one of them was skiing.
Mm-hmm.
So we could go to a dry skiing slope in Harlow in Essex. So I learned to ski, which wasn't usual back then. But we also had a little lake with these little bathtubs on, with a sail, and which I now know to be toppers.
Right.
But they look like bathtubs.
Yeah.
And I got in one, and the guy said, right, you pull this rope, and this is what you do with the centreboard, and this is what you do with the rudder, and off I went. I just got it almost straight away, and whereas everyone else was falling in, and it just seemed to click, and I just absolutely loved it. I thought, this is great, movement for nothing.
Yeah.
Just the wind, and then turning around and coming back. So I was zooming up and down this little lake, it's no more than a couple of 100 yards. And I just, that was my love of the sea there, just there and then. Then work got in the way, and I couldn't do anything for a while. But then when I had perhaps a bit more wherewithal to be able to started chartering a few boats. Loved that, and then started on this journey of buying boats. Started with a little 24-foot Foxhound, which is designed by Ufa Fox as a quarter-ton racer. So it was a bit tippy.
Yeah.
So it was like a big dinghy actually, but I loved it. Could sail it single-handedly, and that was great. And then we sort of went up through various boats. I had a Trapper 500. That was a 70s boat, and looked it and sailed like it, sturdy and heavy, but didn't have much performance, but quite a nice boat to own in terms of accommodation and etc. And we went to Bavaria 40, which we had in joint ownership, and I learned a very important lesson that I'm not very good at sharing.
Fair enough.
So we were in a syndicate with 5 people, and they were all great. It was a really nice syndicate. And we actually kept the boat here in Swanwick, but I wasn't very good at sharing. So I wanted to get something done. It had to be done by committee. So even buy new ropes or some new fenders or something, all 5 people had to agree, or a majority, and it was very difficult to and I just didn't like sharing in the end. So that was a 1-year experience with a larger boat, and then and then in between, then obviously there were numerous little boats that I'd had all sail. I thought, well, I can't afford the big boat that I want, so I'm going to have little small dinghy sized boats. I can take it by myself and not have to worry about anybody else, not have to worry about crew. Because that was the other thing with a 40-foot boat, you always have to have crew with you, or at least 1 or 2 other people, because it's quite a big boat to manage.
Yeah.
So I went through a long period then of just having these small little boats that I could take out single-handed. I dry sailed from Bewley, from the Hamble, where you would just call up and they would drop you in the water the day before, and just so you could go off and then take it out again. And then ended up with Bavaria, and then Jan and I put up my permanent first mate. Jan's great. For somebody who's not sailed it, sorry speaking, but you...
Yeah, but you were very patient.
Yes.
Learning how to tie the fenders and this kind of thing, just simple things. How to moor off. Doing the figure of 8 round once, figure of 8.
Yeah.
Get it tight. Then don't hang around. If you've got a 45-foot boat and you get the midline on, you don't hang around. You are running up and down quite a lot.
Yeah.
So you get techniques that work just for the 2 of us, and that was our thing. The big line on stops the boat, and then everything else we can sort out.
But it's good fun.
Yeah.
It's really good fun.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And the journey to power, a lot of sailors do it when I've given up sailing, I have to go to power now, on my knees and whatever. But I just think that's wrong. It's a totally different experience, yes. Yeah. But so far we're really enjoying it. I'm actually thinking now of what comes after this.
Yeah.
And we do have some plans, but I think it's I don't think people should necessarily look at it as something you do because you can't sail anymore. I think it's just something very different. And people always use the analogy it's about the destination rather than the journey. But even that I don't think is true. You hear all these stories, these horror stories about how many gallons per hour these things burn. But of course everyone talks about it as if you're going at 28, 30 knots all the time.
Yeah.
And you're not.
No, exactly.
I think that would be boring, quite frankly. So we can get up on the plane at, sort of 14, 15 knots, that sort of thing, where we're burning, we're going at half chat effectively.
Yeah.
And I can imagine there'll be times when we'll probably go at displacement speed, probably doing 10 knots or just to flutter along on a nice day like today.
It's still double what you were doing in the sailing boat.
Exactly that.
And it's in a straight line.
Exactly that. I mean, we're looking forward to leaving here at 9 and arriving in Jersey by about 2, in the afternoon, just in time for lunch.
Really.
Rather than it being a 2-day hop, via Cherbourg or Alderney, which you invariably have to do because you work the tides.
Yeah.
It's not really doable in one tide. So I'd urge anyone who's even thinking about it to seriously not wait until they think they can't sail anymore. It's just such a different experience. It's social, it's all on one level.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact I can just step off the pontoon and onto the back of the boat rather than jumping up and down.
Well, yeah, we've got some family who can't do that. It would have been really a struggle for them to get on the boat. Now they can.
Yeah, it's easy, isn't it? Just step on the bathing platform, walk through the door.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And on a day like today, we could be in Monaco.
Yeah.
Perhaps
the immediate surroundings, but in terms of the weather, at least.
By looking at the view, we've got all the yachts. The weather's lovely.
Yeah.
The champagne's cooling in the fridge, and everything's right in the world.
Life is good.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Right.
And one last question, if I may, because people are always curious about this. What is it you do for a living to sort of fund it in the first place?
So, Jan and I sort of fund it, and I've retired. Right. So I used to work in the city, and then latterly I worked for a charity for 5 years. I kind of then I retired in 2014, but ended up getting another job working with children with disabilities, helping them maintain their independence. We had a fleet of specially adapted vehicles that could take wheelchairs and things like that. And so I enjoyed doing that, but I started off thinking that was a little part-time job, and then I ended up being the general manager for the company. Right. And the company doubled in size from during the time I was there. It's still going strong, but it was definitely time to stop and to retire properly this time.
Yeah.
And
to spend more time afloat. I think that's our plan long term, isn't it?
Yeah, he gets. It's not really meant for the land, I don't think.
I get pangs.
If it's a week without being anywhere near water, there's a few complaints.
Man after my own heart.
And Jan's getting a bit like that as well. We love being on board, and who wouldn't?
Well, it's very addictive, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Tell you what, though, it's something that you mustn't do is spend all of your time fixing things and cleaning. You've got to just let things go a little sometimes and just go.
Yes, because we could have gone further with this. We could have gone a lot further with this work if we wanted to. But there comes a point when you have to think, do you know what? This is fine. Yeah. We spent what we spent on it. I'm happy to talk about that if you're interested.
Yeah, always.
So this boat was 155.
Right.
So
it's a lot of boat for 155.
Exactly that. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, but it's a lot of boat. 40-foot twin diesel Flybridge Princess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of boat, and we've spent about.
It's about 28,000.
About 28,000 getting her up to standard.
Yeah.
And we've had her valued because you are interested.
Of course.
And we would absolutely get our money back, and probably then some. Because what it doesn't take into account is the things that I do. Things like adding fridges and the lights, and I must tell you a story if you're interested.
Of course.
So I decided I quite liked underwater lights, and I thought, that's great. And I went online and found this good company in Italy, Osculati, that make them. So I thought I ordered 2 blue lights, put them on, blah. Boat back in the water, turned the lights on, both worked fine. Only problem was one was blue, one was white.
No.
But the box said they were both blue.
Yeah, mistake. Schoolboy error. I didn't check that they both.
Well, why would you though?
I should have checked they were working, and I didn't check they were both the same colour because even though so the company were great in one respect. They sent us another blue one, but of course the boat's in the water now.
Yeah.
I toyed with the idea of getting a wetsuit and seeing how quick my hands could be. But everyone has counselled me against that.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably right.
I think I joined those numbers.
His faces
So
were...
yeah, so it'll stay blue and white at the back for the time being until we come out next. Probably the only mistake we've made with this boat though. And so for well under 200, which is still a lot of money, but we've got a boat that we feel is worth every penny of that. And if we do decide to move her on and trade up a little bit, because this is a bit smaller than our last.
This is our first adventure into power.
Yeah.
If we don't like it, it's an easy boat to sell.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
You know.
But I feel like we're a bit sold already on the power thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we are, but let's see.
I miss our old boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've had adventures on it, and we haven't done that yet.
Emotional when it was gone.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. It's like losing a family friend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've become AIS stalkers as well.
Where is it now?
Find my boat. She's in Eastbourne.
Right.
Hi guys. she's going off to the Med at some point.
Yeah.
We sold her to a lovely couple, and they'll look after her as well as we do.
Yeah.
As well as we did. But and our boat before that is still in Chichester. So again, it's a bit stop looking, Steve. You know, we've moved on. But yeah, we would like to get comfortable with this, and then maybe see where we could go. I think ultimately we'd like to have something in the Med.
Mm-hmm.
That would be our ultimate aim, especially now things seem to be moving in the right way with COVID.
Yeah,
we
sure.
feel a bit happy.
You've got experience of sailing there, haven't you?
Yes, I've done quite a bit of chartering in the Med, sailing, but you know the stern to berthing and all that sort of thing, and how it all works. That doesn't hold any kind of. I'm not so worried about that aspect of it. Obviously not with power, but I'm hoping this works as well as it does in the Med. I'm sure it will, as it does here. So yeah, it's just enjoying the warmer weather. We'll have some more time to spend together. Friends and family will definitely come out. You know, I think the invites are already being written. And just enjoy some time. But not for. I think we enjoy being in the UK though. That being said, you know, especially around the Solent and the West Country, it's some of the best cruising areas in the world. So yeah,
you know the answer, don't you? The perfect answer to all of your dilemmas:
yes.
power, sail, Med, UK. You know the answer. There's no point trying to fight it.
Two boats,
one sailing boat, one motorboat.
We have thought about that.
Yeah,
we have thought about that. And
it's inevitable.
Yeah, I'm still doing the lottery, so we'll if it comes up, Nick will give you a call and say, "This is what we got now."
Fantastic.
Okay.
Well, that's great. That's been really, really good. Super interesting.
Pleasure.
Been lovely to look at the boat. I think it's a fabulous boat. I really do.
Thank you.
And I've got something for you. So bear with me a second. He says falling over as he steps out the boat.
Edit that bit out.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to give you these first.
Okay.
And then there's a company called Carabar, and they said to me, would you like some Carabars to give to your Meet the Owners?
Oh.
And I said, I'd love to. So they have got these. Now this goes on your little table upstairs or in here, wherever you want it.
Oh, wow.
And these go in here like this, you see, so that if the boat rocks, they don't fall over. And that goes in there for your nibbles. And it's a limited edition alcoholic Carabar.
Bit of branding, I like that.
Yeah, you can't buy. Well, you can buy Carabars, but you can't buy an alcoholic one. They're just a very
I've never
limited
seen
number.
that, but what a simple idea. The rubber feet means it's not going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
Absolutely. What a great idea.
Yeah, so I've got a few of those. Sadly, I'm running out of them now. They sent me a few, and I've done a few Meet the Owners.
Okay, you've already shown us this one, Nick. You can't take it. that can't happen now, I'm afraid.
Brilliant. Well, enjoy that.
Thank you. I'm sure we will. That's extremely kind of you.
It's a pleasure, and thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
And I will say goodbye to everybody. Let me know what you think of this fabulous boat, and we will look forward to catching you on another one of these real soon. Bye-bye.